So I'm here with my friend Rob De Groof of the European Hypnosis Academy, and Rob will be in Augusta, Georgia on 11 and 12 May of this year to teach the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. Now, I heard about the Jeffrey Stevens protocol many years ago, and I was lucky enough to meet Jeffrey actually before he passed away, and we did a little street hypnosis together in St. Louis. But I had been hearing a lot of good things about the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. Some people whom I really trust told me this is really outstanding stuff. It's quick, it's effective, and so I've invited Rob to teach at the Atlantic Hypnosis Institute here in Augusta, Georgia. Rob is the first international speaker we've had at the center, and I'm really excited about this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be taking this class myself. So that's on the 11th and 12th of May, and I've asked Rob to come here and tell us a little bit more about the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. So welcome, Rob.
Hello. So I'm also really excited to be the first international trainer at your Atlantic Hypnosis Institute. It's a real honor to be the first. So yeah, I'm very happy to do the interview as well. So.
Excellent. Okay, Rob, this is great. I'm really excited about this, and I'd like to give the viewers a little idea as to what the Jeffrey Stevens protocol is. So, how would you briefly describe the Jeffrey Stevens protocol?
Okay, so it's a 10-step protocol. So I will teach every single step, and the protocol it's direct hypnosis. It's a very short protocol. So the most of the time it depends a bit on how fast that you speak, which kind of inductions that you do. But when I do a session in my own language, sometimes it's only like 8-9 minutes. When I do it in English, of course, it's a bit longer because when I will do the demonstration in Augusta, it will be a bit longer. But then it will be like 12, 13, 15 minutes. So that's from induction to exduction. So it's quite a short protocol. It's direct hypnosis. So the way that we are working is we actually we don't need a lot of information from the client. The only thing that we need is what is the issue, what is the problem, and we don't want it too long. We don't want the entire life story of our client, because at that time the client is actually hypnotizing the hypnotist and giving so much information. So the only thing that we want is what's the problem and what do we want instead. And with that in mind, you can perform your session and do the change work. So in a nutshell, it's actually giving the subconscious mind instructions to do something else. So let's say somebody is afraid from going into a plane, and then we will tell the subconscious mind, you did a good job, you probably had the reasons for it. So we're not going to analyze it, we're not going to search for any causes. We just give the responsibility to the subconscious mind to make all changes necessary to reach the goal that the client wants. So in this case, going on a plane with a comfortable, relaxed, safe feeling. And then one of the things that I'm really stressed on is give the subconscious mind enough reasons to do so, because I think a lot of good sessions, they don't have the results wanted because we don't convince the subconscious mind enough of the fact that the changes are necessary. So that's actually what the protocol is doing. So it's a 10-step protocol. And one of the steps is the golden box, and that's where the change work is done. So you don't need any scripts when working with this protocol. I already had in the past. Actually, we don't ask a client where he's coming for. So what the type of session is. Sometimes we know it. They say it to the person who make the bookings. But I had this story. It was in the beginning when I was still doing sessions at my home. in my office where I had my entertainment business. So it was quite a weird environment to do hypnosis sessions because it was all filled with clowns, and sometimes there were people coming and bringing back their balloons and stuff and juggling material. So, but it was just because of the fact that my hypnotherapy business grew so fast that I was still doing it in my office of my other company. So I had this referral client from a lady that had very good success with weight loss. And she asked me, yeah, I have this colleague, and he wants to do a session for stop smoking, but he's French speaking, but his Dutch it's good. He can understand everything. So I said, yeah, no problem. As long as he can understand me, it's okay. Mm-hmm. So I put it in my schedule, stop smoking session that day. So the guy arrived, and he was sitting there, and I said, oh yeah, you're the guy who was referred by this lady. You want to stop smoking? And he says, yes, I want to stop smoking, but I also have an erectional dysfunction. And for me, it was very good that it happened this way, because I at that time, of course, I didn't have a background in therapy. So I'm quite sure that if I knew like 3 weeks before that I have a session for erectional dysfunction, that I would be nervous and maybe doubting on myself, and can I do this without, and being serious, because I was not used to talk with people about problems like that, maybe with a friend, but not with a stranger. So now he came out of the blue with a total different problem, no stop smoking, but erectional dysfunction. And at that time, the first thing was I was really happy that it happened like this, because now I didn't have the time to overthink it. I just reacted, okay, let's work on this, and I asked a few questions, and we did the session with a good result. But at that time, I was also happy that I was not a hypnotist that needed scripts, because I'm quite sure that my stop smoking script that was lying on my desk was not going to work for the erectional dysfunction. So at that time I was really happy that I know something like the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, and with just a few questions I had the session in mind. I started my session. I was not nervous, I didn't have the time to be nervous, and we did a great session with good results. So that's one of the good things of having the ability to create a session on the spot.
You're right, especially with new hypnotists, but then also I know some experienced hypnotists that run into an issue where they use scripts, and if they don't have the particular script on hand, they're sort of in trouble. So this is something, the protocol is something that you can use for any issue?
Yeah. You can use it for any issue. Of course, here in our hypnosis center, we have different systems that we're working on. But most of the time, let's say our basic system is the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. We also have the virtual gastric band, what's a totally different protocol. But also in the virtual gastric band, I will use like all the steps from the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, and the only thing I change is the golden box where the change work is done. Then I will do the virtual gastric band system. But for me, it's a base, and for every therapist working for me, it's always the base of every session, even if we use something else to do the change work. But for 80% of the sessions that we're doing here, we will use the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. I think, of course, every therapist has different success with different types of sessions. For me, my stop smoking session, when I use the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, has a very high success rate. With one session, most of the time I do one session with a smoker with a very high success rate. But one of the things that I don't use the Jeffrey Stevens protocol for really often is for pain. For pain, sometimes it works. I had some pain removal with the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, but maybe for me it's most of the time it's mindset, because when you have sometimes you do a session and the result is not what you wanted, then sometimes in your mind it's getting to play that, oh, maybe this is not a good approach for pain, and then you find something else and you have good results, so you tend to go more to that. So, but I remember because Jeffrey has also some other techniques like symbology, black room technique, and I remember I had this conversation with Jeffrey about how in my beginning years, how do you know how to choose which system that you're going to use, and he gave me the advice to just have a chat with your client, and at that time just let your subconscious mind make the decision. Whatever approach that you think or that you feel at that time is the best, just use that approach. And of course, it's really important for a hypnotist to have many tools in his toolbox. So
Sure.
for me, the basis, when I enter the therapy room, in my mind, I'm going to go for the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. But whenever I have the feeling that I have to do something else, that the client needs something else, another approach, I will go for the other approach. But like 80% of the times, and the good thing is, I had this. It was in a training, and it was a 7-day hypnosis training here in Aarschot. And the Wednesday and the Thursday is the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. So in our basic training, the Jeffrey Stevens protocol is included because of the fact that when people leave here on a Sunday, they have to do a session with a real client. And I want my students in Belgium to know the same protocol that we're using on a daily basis here in our hypnosis center, of course. So I announced that on the Thursday that I was going to do a live demonstration with one of the students. So one of the students, she came to me and she says, yes, I have this problem with my blood sugar level. So when my blood sugar level is going in this, it keeps going in this direction, I need to start it with injecting insulin. So, and she asked me, have you ever worked with this? And I said, yeah, we had already great results with sessions like this. So on the Thursday, I did a session with her. So the only thing that I actually did was asking the subconscious mind to regulate the blood sugar level and to make all changes necessary. So really direct stuff. So Jeffrey Stevens protocol, because it was in the training demonstration of the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. So. And already the next day, so she was in the training together with her husband, and she was sitting there. And because it was the third module, there were some new students who did the trainings in the weekend. So they came in on Friday to do the last module of our 7-day training. So we had this question going on, and her husband is. He was retired, and he actually came to the training just to support her, and because he was interested. But he was a science guy, so really analytic. And he asked for the word, and he started explaining. Yeah, okay. So yesterday you did a session with my wife for her blood sugar level, and we measured it. We are measuring it every day. And yesterday, after we came home, we didn't have any exercise like walking. We didn't have sex. I got all the information, because he's a scientific guy. He said, "Yeah, but that can affect the blood sugar level as well." So we didn't have sex. So and already her blood sugar level was going down. So he was really surprised because of the fact that I did an 8-minute session with her. And even at the evening and in the morning, it was like 100 points down. I don't know the scales, but it was for him. It was like, whoa, there's something going on here. Something the subconscious mind is doing what you ask the subconscious mind to do. And at that time, I told for the entire training room that I never did a session like this before, and it was the truth. I never did it. So because of the fact that she asked me, I of course I told her, yeah, we have a lot of experience with this, because of course when you say, oh, I never did it before, but let's give it a try tomorrow, then her mindset will be, let's give it a try. But I didn't want to have that, of course. So that's an advice that I can give to every hypnotherapist out there. Always say, we have experience with it. And in we, it's actually the entire hypnosis world. So you're not lying. So whenever you know, I know, at that time I knew there were a lot of hypnotherapists out there who had great success with diabetes type 2. so with blood sugar level. So I was really honest in saying, yeah, we have experience with it, but for me, we is the entire hypnosis world. So at that time, I'm not lying, but I give her the feeling that it's something that has a very high chance on success. So her mindset was already on a positive way, so that was good. So and after like months, she was here for another training, and her blood sugar level was on the level of a very healthy person. So there was no, her GP didn't know what was going on. So she was like this close from injecting insulin, and now her blood sugar level was on a normal level after a session of only 8 minutes with direct hypnosis.
Wow. So just to summarize, you're saying that for 80% of the issues that walk in the door of the hypnotherapy office, you can use the Jeffrey Stevens protocol to handle them.
Yeah.
So yeah. I like that, because it's nice to have something, and I agree with you that we need as many tools as possible, because sometimes another tool seems more appropriate. But if you have a technique that you can use for 80% of the issues that come in the door, that's pretty valuable for either a new hypnotist or an experienced hypnotist. How would you say the Jeffrey Stevens protocol differs from other protocols? What are the main differences?
Well, one of the main differences, it's really direct hypnosis. It's sometimes also done on a quite authorian way. It's fast. That's one of the things that it's really it's fast. The moment you know the structure, then you. I did this training in different countries already with really seasoned hypnotherapists. They were in the business like 20 years. And they changed their approach, they changed their way of working after that training, because they saw that especially the structure is really neat, and the moment you have that structure in your mind, you don't need to think anymore. The one of the good things is you sit there, you have your client, and you can, the moment you have it in your mind, you can do your session without thinking of what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to do now, and you can concentrate on your client, and you can see the feedback from your client, and for me that's really important. So you don't have to keep your script in one eye, because you don't need the only thing that you need is the little information that you get from your client. You write it down, and with that information you can do the session. Once you know all the different steps, I use those steps also when I do street hypnosis. I use those steps when I do the virtual gastric band. I use those steps when I do Freddy's arrow technique, when I want to work with pain, when I do a control group. I always use those kinds of steps, because for me it's in my mind. I even don't have to think about the steps anymore. Even I don't have to think about the lines anymore, because and every step has his goal and has its benefits for your session. So the moment you know this protocol, even when you let's say for other sessions you want to use another tool, you just can incorporate it in the protocol, and that's something that's really good. And also the fact that it's a fast protocol, because I know a lot of people, they spend a lot of time on doing the hypnosis, but actually for me it's more important to have a powerful session where you can put a lot of your power in, but also the client, and the client has a good experience. And then, let's say you have 10 to 15 minutes, even sometimes 20 minutes session, and that's something that's also good. So we do here in Belgium, we do a client every hour. So every hour we have a client, because we have the pre-talk. For us, most of the time, the pre-talk, we send the pre-talk on a video now. That's so people can see it at their home at their own time. Because my experience is that when people are sitting in your therapy room and you do the pre-talk 10, that it's like they are sometimes so nervous because they are the first time at a hypnotist, and you tell them all these things because they are, you're not going to be asleep and you have to follow my instruction, blah blah blah, and yes, it's like here in, there out. So they because they are so nervous and they say yes, yes, but yeah, they don't get it. And when you give them the video up front, they have the time to let it sink in, and then they understand what you expect from them. So so that's one of the advantages. The thing that it's short, that it's structured, is really structured. And yeah, one of the good things is that you can use it on the spot, out of the blue, wherever you are. Let's say you're at a party and then somebody has a problem, and I did it sometimes with people who have yeah, they just have a problem and then they have to go home because of the problem. And sometimes I just do a quick session with them. I don't need to think about it because I have the structure in my mind, and that's really really good.
Well, how difficult is it to learn the structure?
Well, it's quite easy because the training is set up like this. So we're going to explain, of course, the background of the system and how the system is working, and then we're gonna learn step by step. And like when we are like 4 steps in, we're going to start practicing, and every step I will explain the next step. We do another hand practice, and then like after the training, you have the structure in your mind. And I will give some tips for the students as well, how I did it for myself, to keep the steps inside, so you don't have to learn them by heart. And then what's really important with this system, and that's something I stress out on every training, I always say the only thing that you have to learn is the steps and what are the steps are about. And then you don't have to use my words, you don't have to use Jeffrey's words, but you have to create your own words. And at that time you don't have to learn it, because then you know, okay, this is step 1, this is step 2, and step 2 has this goal, so I'm going to say it like this. And it's much better for the effectiveness and the success of the session that you use your own words. Because when you're a copy of me, or a copy of Jeffrey, or a copy of Shawn Michael Andrews, you're not yourself. You have to be yourself. And that's really important, because a lot of time I see people doing exactly the same as they learned in the training, using exactly the same words, but it sounds horrible because it's not their way of saying it, it's not their way of acting. So you have to create your own hypnosis persona, and that's really important. And because of the fact that it's steps, and then you have to fill in your own words in the steps, your own approach. And sometimes maybe there is a step that's not that good for you. Then we can adapt it so that you have a good way of performing that step. And so it's quite easy to learn. When you do the entire training, after the training you will get all the entire idea of how the protocol is built up. And then you can use it in your own way, and like even when you don't do it on a regular basis. One of the things that I give as an advice always to my students, especially when they are beginners, so they don't do sessions much. When I do this training for seasoned hypnotherapists, there's no problem, because they go out and the week later they have clients, they start applying it, and they learn it by doing it with their clients. But for new hypnotists who don't see clients on a regular basis at that time, I always say just put a chair or a pillow or this little teddy bear and just hypnotize that bear, and just get used of doing the system, and then it's quite easy. It's and once you have it in your memory, you will never forget it, and that's a good thing.
Okay, well, that brings up another point, and that is that I believe that from the students that are signed up so far, we have some that are very experienced, and we actually have some that haven't hypnotized people before. What's the deal? I mean, is that going to be okay?
Yeah, because I'm going to learn them. I'm going to learn them anyway, inductions, because for this type of protocol, I use only instant inductions for this. But you can do it. You can do the protocol with the Dave Ellman induction. When for people who don't like the instant inductions, I do instant inductions all the time. But you can use. So I will learn them some inductions. They are included in the
Oh, okay,
training,
good.
so that's no problem. The deepeners are there. So the only thing that we have to do is just to inform those people about safety. Things like app reactions, because that's not in the
Right.
training included, but that we can maybe we just stay an hour longer on the Saturday and we give them an introduction in hypnosis, and especially the safety going, how to react when people have an app reaction and things like that. Now the thing is, with the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, there is a very light chance to have an app reaction, but you can have one just by doing the induction, of course. But as you're not going to analyze it, as you're not going to, you're just going to speak directly to the subconscious mind. So the chance that there is an app reaction in the session, it's really low. I never had it. The only way that I can see an app reaction happening in the Jeffrey Stevens protocol is when you do the induction and they just hit something that
Right.
that will cause an app reaction. Yeah.
So a spontaneous one. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with Jeffrey years ago. And I was very much into doing age regressions, and he was very much against age
Yeah.
regressions,
I
and
think in the manual he
we
says
agreed to
it's a crime.
disagree.
He says it's a crime doing a regression. Yeah, he was
Yeah, I
really
remember
against
that
it.
he
Yeah.
felt very strongly about that, but actually this might be good. I mean, I like a direct approach. I think that's great. Um, but there are some people that just are frightened or just nervous about doing age regressions. So for anybody who doesn't really prefer to do age regressions, this is a really especially valuable because there's no regression involved in it.
No, no. No, as I said, Jeffrey was really against regression. It was, I think it's in the manual or in some other thing that I read it, that he says actually doing regression is like a crime because you let people go through all the bad emotions again. But okay, for me, that's something like putting yourself out there. For me, I never use regression. I'm not into regression. Of course, a bit of the fact that Jeffrey was my mentor, and he, it was always, oh, don't use your regression. But of course, there is a benefit in using regression. But I think it's very good that you have a direct approach, and whenever you need it, whenever you see that okay, we have to go when the direct hypnosis is not doing the work, probably the subconscious mind doesn't have all the resources to make the changes, or doesn't want to make the changes because of security reason. So and then of course it's really good to have to open your toolbox and to take something out and whenever and when it's regression, okay, that's good. When you're good in regression, just use it. Of course, for me it's really important, especially with regression, that you're that you're good trained in doing regression, of course, and that's really important. And when you know what to do, then of course it's a valued tool as well. So for me, I'm
Well,
not that.
no, I mean,
For me, it's not a crime.
right. Well, no, I can understand. I think that when I can do the job and I don't have to do an age regression, I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
And so the direct approach, I'm interested. I am. I'm not I'm not as big a fan of regression as I used to be, and so
Yeah.
I look at it as here's the way I look at it. If someone has an issue, I will use uh, the simplest process that will work. And if it did not work, then of course we can always go to something
Yeah.
more involved, like an age regression. But if, as you say, we can use this protocol for 80% of the things that come in the room, um,
Yeah. So
that sounds
yeah,
like a win to
for
me.
me, my mindset is also let's do first something that's quick and easy to do,
Right.
and in 80% of the times will fix the problem in one session. So let's do that one first, and whenever necessary, then open the toolbox and take all the other tools that you know, and that's why it's important to have a toolbox with all those different kinds of. I once had this session with a young girl. She was like 11 years old. Her father was with her, and the thing was, they made an appointment with a hypnotist, but she was afraid of hypnosis. She really didn't want to go into hypnosis. So okay, so I used the Swan. Yeah. So I played the game with her for like 3 minutes. She had very good reactions. I installed yes, no, and I just asked with her eyes open, with her father sitting next to her. What I never do when I do hypnosis. I never had a parent.
Right.
I have the parents there, of course, but I just asked the subconscious mind. It was an eating disorder, so she everything tasted bad for her. So she was really skinny. She was bullied in the school, and she really wanted the changes, because of course that's really important. So the only thing that I did was, it lasted like 3 minutes. I asked the subconscious mind, with her eyes open, of course, can you make the changes necessary to do this because of this, and these are the benefits that she will have. I get this big yes. I asked a few more questions to be sure, and like 3 minutes later, the session was done. So the father was looking at me and said, yep, no worries, it's okay. So like 3 weeks later, he had an appointment for his son, 9 years old, and they came in, and I remembered the guy. I said, how is the girl doing? And he says,
Yeah.
I came home and my wife, she asked me, where did you get this girl? Are you sure it's my daughter? Because she came home, the dinner was on the table, she started eating, and she eats everything. Like he said, in these past 3 weeks, everything we put on the table was good for her. Everything was okay, everything was fine. So, and then she already raised, she gained a few kilos. So she was feeling
You're
good, she was
frozen.
feeling happy, and yeah, sometimes it's that easy. And I know the question when I tell this in a training room, the question is always, but like 3 minutes, and did you fully charge the session? Yeah, of course, because people don't come for my time, they come for a result, and they had a very good result. Of course, it's a bit strange to do only like 3 minutes work and say, okay, that was it. Now the session is done, but the result was there. And that's more important than whatever technique that you're using, of course.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, that's why they come. They come for the result. But I assume that you prepare the client before the session and say, often this takes only 15, 20 minutes, just so they
It's
don't feel
already
cheated.
it's already in the pre-talk video that they get. Actually, I have the pre-talk video in English now as well, because when I did when I do the Jeffrey Stevens training abroad, and people and I tell about a pre-talk video, and then they ask, well, can we see your pre-talk video? Says, yes, you can, but you're not gonna understand the thing because it's in Dutch. So I recorded it in English now. So I will share it on the training as well. And
Okay, very good.
in the pre-talk video, I also mentioned that the sessions are power sessions, that they're gonna be short and that you don't need a long session, but that the power has to be right. So that's something that I prepare them for, of course. And when I was still doing a lot of sessions here, especially with my stop smoking sessions, because a smoker, you don't need much information. The only thing that you need to know is, okay, you're a smoker, you want to become a non-smoker, and give me some benefits of being a non-smoker, because that's the only information that I will use in my session. So when they enter and they watched your video, they don't have a lot of question about the hypnosis. So you start, and like 35 minutes later, they are back on the parking lot. They paid, they're back on the parking lot. So, and sometimes for people, the perception is from, well, it's 150 euros, it's only 35 minutes, is this going to be really effective? So what I did, I I had this undulation bed, and don't know that you saw it last year when you were here. So this bed that they can lie on. I used the Casina brill, the Casina
Oh,
glasses.
yes, yeah.
So
Yep.
I gave them like 15 minutes of audio visual entrainment with the extras of the massage bed. So they were really already like zoned out, and then I did the session with them. So they had this full package, they had this full experience, and for them it was more like now, and then they were like 45 minutes inside the building. So it was more like a package, like something worthwhile. And of course that's always good, because one of the things that I'm also going to explain in the training, for me. I want people to go out of my therapy room as soon after the exduction as possible, especially with direct hypnosis, because you give direct instructions to the subconscious mind, and I don't want them to start talking again about the issue, about the problem, or maybe about the chances that there is no result, because at that time they're still really suggestible. And when they start asking questions. So I have this few tips and tricks to get them out as soon as possible. And one of the things Jeffrey always said about that, about the word relaxation. So he never uses the word relaxation. I never use the word relaxation. But the reason that Jeffrey gave for that, the not using the word relaxation, was like, I don't want them to be relaxed sitting in the chair, because 20 minutes later I'm gonna kick them out of my office. So I don't want them to be relaxed. so that was his no. But the thing that he wanted to say with that, it's so after a session, just start talking about the children, about the weather, about football, whatever, but not about the session anymore. So. And I will explain that also in the training, and how I handle it, so that they don't feel as if that you kick them out of your office, that they feel good, and that I even had this little suggestion in my introduction to just give them the feeling that they know, okay, now the session is finished, we're just gonna do the payment, I give them something, a little gift, and then they go out, and they're still in a positive mindset, and that's really important.
Oh, interesting. I've heard that some classes, hypnosis classes, don't have a lot of practice in them, which the students tend to want. How much practice is involved when you're teaching this protocol?
Well, it's hands-on training, so there's going to be a lot of practice, and also a lot of demonstration. Because that's also, I had this email yesterday from somebody who did a training in another school here in Belgium, and he was really disappointed because of the fact there was no demonstration. So the trainer is telling stories, but don't demonstrate anything. So in this training, I will demonstrate a lot. So every step I will demonstrate it. I will do an entire session with one of the students. We will watch 2 sessions Jeffrey did. He did them here in Belgium. So I recorded them. It's really material that you will never find online, or you will never find it online. It's one session about a lady who's feeling depressed because of the fact that she moved from the United States to the Netherlands, and she has really problem adjusting to all the changes. So it's a very, very good session. Then there's a weight loss session that I will show. I always look for something for a student who has an issue that is not a common one, like weight loss or stop smoking. I really want to show the students or the attendees that I just something out of the blue, and that I do the session with the client or the student. But every step will be practiced. So we will build it up. We will learn a new step, and then we do the practice. We learn a new step, we do a practice. And at the end of the Sunday, I want them to do an entire session with change work and everything with one of the students. So there will
That's
be a
good.
lot. It's a really hands-on training. And when they, especially when they're seasoned hypnotherapists, when they go out and they just review the steps a bit in the week. The week later, they will be able to perform an entire session with their clients after the weekend. So that's yeah.
So the experience, and even the newbies will be able to do a
Even the
session.
newbies, yeah, because the newbies will hypnotize people already the first day, and they will do an entire session on the Sunday, and they will have the confidence to do so, because that's one of the feedback that I got a lot, also from the newbies that I have here in my training center, because on the first 2 days they have the basic hypnosis training, they learn an induction, they learn the Dave Ellman induction, they do on the last day of the second day of the training, I give them a script to do a session, so they have the feeling how it is to
Ah,
work with a
okay,
script. And
okay.
of course they're newbies, so they just read the script, and it sounds terrible, and they feel that it's not good just reading, that it's not made for the person sitting in front of you. So, and then the the first day of the Jeffrey Stevens protocol, and the second day, I learn them how to get rid of the script, and then they see the difference, and then they
Okay,
feel the difference. But they will be ready to do a full session on the Sunday afternoon. So I'm quite sure about that.
okay, excellent. Now this is a certification program, is it
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. So
Okay, so
they will get two certificates. One of the European Hypnosis Academy, and they also get the original Jeffrey Stevens certificate. Because I'm the official trainer for the Jeffrey Stevens protocol. There are only 3 people in the entire world who have the rights from Jeffrey's family to do this training. So they will get a certificate with Jeffrey's signature still on it. So so it's an actual thing, and also they will get. I don't have one here, but they will get a special Jeffrey Stevens pin. It's actually my colleague Rudy. You know Rudy from the Hypnosis Center in the Netherlands. He
yeah, I
designed
remember
like
reading.
this shield of certified hypnotist Jeffrey Stevens protocol, and
Huh,
I had this silver pin made. And every student will get this Jeffrey Stevens certified hypnotist pin as well. So that's
it's cool.
always nice to have to give people something. So that's yeah.
So they can identify one another in
Yeah,
public.
yeah. At conventions, where are the others? Where are the others?
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so what about manuals?
They will get a manual. We also have so they will get a paper manual, but they all the students, they will be granted access to an online platform. We have
Ah,
it
okay.
on Thinkific now. So every video, every handout, the manual, everything will be in that platform. So whenever, like 5 years later, they want to review something, they can't find the
Hmm.
paper manual anymore, just go online. They can download the PDF, or they can just read in the PDF. They can watch all the videos again. There are some videos also from sessions I did here in Belgium. We are in the progress of subtitling them now, so they can see me working in my language with subtitles. So all those things will be there. So they will get a lot of extras that they can find on the online platform. So also there are some handouts. The PowerPoint presentation will be there in PDF format. So they actually don't have to take. I see a lot of people during a training take pictures of the PowerPoint, so they don't have to do it. They
Yeah,
can concentrate on the training and find it all after the training. We will send them a login, and they can log in and they can access it whenever they want.
excellent. Okay, so this is the Saturday and Sunday, the 11th and 12th of May,
Yep.
2019, and it's going to be here in Augusta, Georgia. Um, well, I'm excited about this. I it's funny. I remember not arguing, having a spirited conversation with Jeffrey, and this is very different from the way I do hypnosis. So that makes me even more excited to learn something different, something completely new. I love the idea that it's direct. I love a more paternal approach to hypnosis, and so I think I'm going to like this a lot. But I'm really excited. This is cool. Um, Geez.
Yeah, I'm
What
quite
else do I
sure.
want to
I'm
ask
quite
you?
sure you're gonna like it because it's yeah. The moment you know the protocol, also for the
Uh-huh.
change work, it's only
Right.
a few words, quite a variables that you need to change, and then you have your session ready. And it's direct. It's really direct paternal way of hypnotizing, and that's something that you're gonna like. I'm quite sure.
Well, also, I've seen you teach, and you're a very good instructor. So,
Thank you.
so I know I'm not going to be bored.
No, and one of the things I have this tradition, yeah, I have this background in entertainment, and one of the things that I do every time when I do a training, just before we start again at the afternoon after the lunch break. I will do
Right.
a trick of the day. So I will do a
Oh, okay.
mentalism trick just to get people started. So I do it here when I do trainings here all the time. Sometimes I really have to think because there are a lot of students who do master classes and they come back a lot. And sometimes I have to think what trick am I going to do that they didn't solve before. So now I have this system that I know which trick that I did for which training class. So. So yeah, but I will do that as well. So yeah.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Rob is also a very accomplished magician and mentalist. So yeah, that'll be super cool. All right, Rob. Well, thank you for talking with us, and I will post this, and cool. All right, I'm real
My pleasure.
excited.
I'm
So
really looking
so you
forward in yeah visiting your hypnosis institute there in Georgia. For me, it's also the first time that I will be in the United States in that area. So I will be there for 1 month in the United States. So I'm really looking for. Are you going to Daytona Beach as well? Because
yes
okay, so
yes.
we can travel together over there. So and yeah, my wife is really looking forward to the Daytona Beach, to the beach, of course. Yeah, that's.
I should have invited you guys earlier because Daniela, I need my string.
Okay,
I
I
need
have
the.
mine. I have mine. I have mine.
Are you
So
wearing it?
yeah, for maybe we have to explain it now. So for the people who don't know
Okay.
this,
Yes. 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 Go ahead and
some
explain.
people might know this. So my wife
Yeah.
is Bulgarian, and in Bulgaria they have this tradition that on the 1st of March you have to put something like this. For the women they have bigger things and but it's always with the colors red and white. And the first time when you see what's the name of the bird? It's no, it's not ostrich. I don't know the name.
Was it a
Spork,
stork
spork,
or was it a maybe
stork,
a
stork,
stork
stork.
or
The one who brings the babies. That one, stork.
yes. 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 A
Stork.
stork. Right.
So, but because in Bulgaria there are in the summer there are a lot of storks, and so the moment in March, end of March, they come back from Africa where they have the winter. So the moment you see
Right.
a stork, then you have to cut this and you have to put it under a rock or bind it on a tree, and then you have to do a wish. Or when you don't see them, like here in Belgium, I don't see them. So then at the end of March you can, or when it falls off by itself. So
Ah.
that's a tradition, and it's called Marta. Baba Marta is a tradition, and
Baba Magda.
it's a really Bulgarian tradition. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one year when she gave me one, and I was in Germany, and this fellow came to the door. I think he was, what was he doing? He was,
It
I
was a
think he
delivery
was
guy.
the
It was a
delivery guy.
delivery
That's
guy.
right.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was an electrician, but no, he was a delivery guy. And he saw that, and he asked me, was ist das? And I told him, and he was smiling while I told him about it. And then he told me, yeah, I know all about that because I'm from Bulgaria too. So because of Daniela's string, we bonded.
Yeah, yeah, and there are a lot of Bulgarians all over the world, so yeah, there is a chance that they will recognize you, but just by this, and they start a conversation, of course. Yeah,
That's how you find the Bulgarians.
that's
Yeah.
how you find them in the month of March. You can recognize them all over the world.
That's so good. All right, Rob. Well, look, I can't wait for the training, and I will take you out for some really good Georgia barbecue while you're here.